Hey guys, it's Shadow the Rat, and for today's video, I wanted to continue my Meet My Rat series, which is basically a series where I just introduce each of my rats and kind of give you a little bit of personalized information about them. So in today's video, we are going to be talking about my rat Potato. Potato's variety was a Champagne Self, and I got her when she was a little over 2 years old at the beginning of this year. Now, Potato came from someone who unfortunately developed some health issues that made caring for their rats really difficult and pretty much impossible, which was why they were looking to rehome them. And because I live locally to them, I saw their post on a local Facebook group called Rat Enthusiast of Virginia, and when I saw their post, I reached out and offered to take them, and their owner gave me Potato and her two younger dwarf cage mates, Tater Tot and French Fry. Now, when I got Potato, it was very clear that she was extremely overweight. She was very obese, and she also had quite a large tumor, which is unfortunately quite common in female rats. Specifically, she had a benign mammary tumor, which you find in pretty much all older female rats if they're left intact. So ultimately, I decided to take Potato into my vet and ask about, getting the tumor removed, which the vet agreed to do, but they weren't able to get us in for a few weeks just because it was a very busy time for them. And that was okay because these sorts of benign mammary tumors really aren't a big issue for rats. They don't bother them until they get large enough that they start to kind of sap the rat's nutrients and prevent them from being fully mobile. So once they get large enough, they do cause quite a few issues. But when they're small to medium, they don't really cause too many problems. And because Potato was such a big rat, her tumor, while it was on the larger side, was actually only about medium-sized for her. So she was still able to get around pretty well and still had a very high quality of life. Anyways, I also put Potato on a diet to try and help her shed some weight. And that worked quite well. She lost quite a bit of weight while with me. And on top of that, we also did a lot of trick training together. Potato was very smart. She picked up quite a few tricks. Despite being such an old rat, she had no problem picking up fetch and even agility. Basically, it was just a lot of fun training with her. And she was just a really sweet rat overall. She was a little timid, but nothing too crazy unmanageable. She was still quite happy to greet you at the cage door. She was fine with handling and being pet. She was just a really sweet rat, and she was also very nice to all her ratty buddies, and also nice to my other rats, at least the ones who were being nice to her. Unfortunately, some of my rats at the time were quite territorial, so I was not able to introduce her and her buddies to my main group, but she got along really well with her buddies, so that was more than enough for her. Now, close to 2 months after I got Potato, I ended up having her go through the tumor removal surgery, and that was very successful, and I was very happy with the outcome. She seemed to be doing really well and recovering really well, at least for the first few days. Unfortunately, like a week or a week and a half after the surgery, when she was still healing, I noticed that all of a sudden she seemed to not be able to use her hind legs. Or more accurately, I noticed that she seemed to be walking a little weird, and then maybe half a day later, I noticed she had lost pretty much all of her hind leg use. She was still acting completely normal and still very motivated to have food and just seemed to be feeling good. And so I didn't take her to the emergency vet. I was planning on taking her the next day, but unfortunately she ended up passing away a few hours later. So I'm still not quite sure what happened to her. I think it was probably a stroke, and my vet agrees with me. That's kind of just what it sounds like as far as symptoms go. With rats, when they have a stroke, the first one isn't really the biggest concern because usually they can have one stroke and it will cause some temporary damage, but they can recover from that and often regain any skills that they initially lost. However, the biggest danger is the first 24 to 48 hours after the first stroke, because during this time period, they are at a much higher risk of having a second stroke, and this is the one that is most likely to kill them. And unfortunately, that is what seems to have happened with Potato. So unfortunately, I didn't have her very long, which does suck. I did know when I got senior rats, which I'm always happy to take in senior rats, but, I did know when I got her that she probably wouldn't be with me for very long. But still, I was hoping she'd be around a little bit longer, and it was just very sad seeing her pass away so quickly, especially because I had quite a few other senior rats at the same time, and they were also passing away from various issues, but I had had those rats since they were like 6 weeks old, so it was a little bit different. But yeah, it was very difficult to see Potato pass so quickly. But at the same time, I feel like she enjoyed her few months with me, and I feel like she also had a very good life with her prior owner. So I think that Potato was a very happy rat, even though she wasn't with me for all that long. But yeah, that's pretty much it for Potato's story. Potato really was such a sweet and smart and just amazing rat. And I do wish that I got to have her longer and gotten to care for her longer. But regardless, I'm very happy that I got to meet her and take care of her and just, know such an amazing little rat. So even though she wasn't with me for very long, I feel like she still made quite an impact. So yeah, that's pretty much it for Potato's story. Hers is unfortunately a little bit sadder than the others just because she wasn't around for all that long. But she did have a very good time during that short period, and she had a very good life before me as well. So overall, her story is actually quite a happy one because she still lived a pretty long life for a rat, and she definitely had a very good life before me. And then I also know she had a good life with me as well. So, overall, she seemed to have been a very happy rat and had a very good life. Anyways, that's it for Potato's story. I hope you guys enjoyed getting to hear a little bit about her and getting to see her some. And I hope to see you guys next time. Bye!